created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what it comes from it, who gives breath to the people upon it and spirit to those who walk in it. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I have taken you by the hand and kept you. I have given you as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, from the prison those who sit in darkness. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory I give to no other, nor my praise to idols. See, the former things have come to pass, and new things I now declare before they spring forth. I tell you of them. For a long time I have held my peace. I have kept still and restrained myself. Now I will cry out like a woman in labor. I will gasp and pant. And from Luke. In those days a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went out to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver a child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, wrapped him in a band of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room in the guest room. Now, in that same region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone round them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You'll find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising the God and saying, "Glory to God in the heaven highest, and on earth peace among those whom he favors." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in a manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told to them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. And Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, just as it had been told them. May these readings from Isaiah and Luke inspire us to live for love.
Thanks be to God. Throughout Advent, we have questioned how we know what we think we know about the stories we hear and the people in them. Who decides what version of the truth is true? How can we rely upon the version of the story we are hearing? For those of you joining us tonight who haven't taken this journey with us, we placed every biblical character in our readings through Advent in conversation with a more modern person who exemplified some of the characteristics we haven't been taught to see in the biblical narrative. After all, 2,000 years or more is a lot of time in which to sanitize a story. And we know that all it really takes to sanitize a story is a news cycle or two, and the story is locked in place. The truth is, asking, "Do you see what I see?" or do you hear what I hear? Or "Do you know what I know?" These aren't rhetorical questions in these days in which we welcome once again the Prince of Peace. And so this evening, we have come to the story of Jesus' birth, a story we have heard so many times, we likely don't think to question it. In fact, may have been taught that it's wrong to question it. But the implications of who writes the narrative and who hears and accepts world-changing stories are very real. How we tell stories literally has the power to shape the human experience. So, I present you 3 reports of the events of this night so long ago. Those two have nobody but themselves to blame if they sleep outside tonight. I mean, really, if that man had been more prepared, he would have left 2 weeks ago. That's what you get being lazy and waiting till the last minute, and then expecting decent people to be put out for them. It's always a handout. So entitled. I don't know what people are so worked up about. It's not that big of a deal to go be registered. If you're here legally, then being recorded in your hometown for the census should be no problem. All of these provincials should be grateful. They have roads to travel on. They love to complain, but what were their dirty little backwater towns anyway until Rome showed up with all the benefits of civilization? Nothing. Caesar's making Judea great, greater than ever, the best it's ever been. If these people just played by the rules instead of fighting the system, they could have so much. Carrying on about taxes and religious freedom, affordability is a hoax. But what do you expect from those people anyway? All they do is complain. There they are. Bless them. Joseph, so loyal, and Mary, so placid. You can see the hand of God upon them as they accept this journey across the sands and do not question the reason for their suffering. They give it up to God as a show of their devotion. What a beautiful night. The sky so full of stars, and what a peaceful scene. The cozy corner with the gentle snuffling of the ox and lamb as Jesus comes silently into the world. Mary's trust in God was a blessing that made her labor easy, and Joseph's devotion steadied his hands as he wrapped the cooing babe and laid him in at his mother's breast. Though the night was cold, they were enveloped in their faith. Soon the well-dressed magi will be along with birthday presents because the whole world recognized the miracle. Let this be a lesson to us all. God has a plan for each of us, and our challenges in this life are easy to bear, knowing that Jesus Christ was born this night and will sacrifice himself to relieve us all of our sin. Beautiful. Mary knew she had been given a gift in Joseph. People talked. Joseph didn't listen. Their life was simple, but it was as safe and secure as he was able to make it. Mary knew she wasn't an ideal girl for a marriage match. She couldn't bring herself to smile politely when there was so much in the world that needed changing. She wanted better for her baby. She wanted better for herself and for Joseph. Oh, she trusted God. It was people she didn't dare trust. Except for this man that she was blessed to have married. And the family who raised her to believe in herself, to stand up for herself. Truthfully, if she had the chance, she would have thrown her shoe at Caesar, at all of the snobby Romans. And even worse were all of the Judeans and Israelites who fawned all over them, let themselves be used by them. They should be ashamed. But people, she knew, really could be like sheep, following whoever held up a crook and said, "This way." Easy answers only ever complicate things. To her, their laws and their plans were so obvious, and she couldn't fathom why others struggled so hard to see the truth. I mean, what is the point of a census taken where people are from rather than where they live? Was the hope to empty out Jerusalem, to force people to travel so far they'd consider simply staying once they got there? Well, what a convenient way to free up property. Not to mention the show of dominance. What a childish waste it all was. Still, Mary knew that you have to choose your battles. And 9 months pregnant and alone on the road was no time to question authority. It would come, but not here and not now. Besides, Mary already had a job to do. She was terrified. Every girl knew the risks of birth, and everyone said that the first baby was the hardest. As her belly rippled and tightened, she thought it was remarkable that there was such a thing as a second child in this world. They'd tried the single inns in the last 3 towns. No rooms. Joseph had grown silent, his brow furrowed, his shoulders tight as they trudged on. But it was clear to Mary that she could go no farther. And so here she was, in a barn, of all places, bringing her first child into the world without her mother or her sisters or her Aunt Elizabeth, without the midwife who had brought her into the world. She didn't even have a birthing stool or hot water. And she felt so very, very alone. And so very, very tired. When they had set their packs down and she had realized this was really and truly where she would have her baby, she had been filled with her righteous wrath. Her baby could die. She could die. She had to beg for a bit of floor to lay on because the Roman bloody empire wanted to count people over here rather than over there. But that anger seemed a distant thing now. Now, with her baby in her arms, she knew she had one task: to raise this child to see the world clearly, to love people dearly, and to believe with all his heart that God wanted him and all the other beautiful children to grow up in peace and safety. She would do everything she could to create that world for him. And she would do everything she could to teach him to create that world for others. Her legs still shook and she could hardly move, and still she knew that the labor of her night would be nothing compared to the labor of her life as this child's mother. Do you know what I know? Do you know the narrative of the wealthy, the powerful, and those who aspire to be wealthy and powerful? Do you know that those who are on the margins have made their choices and are reaping what they sowed, and that your comfortable life is proof that you made better choices and maybe are even more loved by God? Do you know that a miracle happened in an ancient manger, and somehow between now and April, when we celebrate Easter, this baby will grow up, apparently living on 3 boxes of the worst baby gifts ever, and be sacrificed because his prayers made those stodgy Sadducees and fussy Pharisees jealous because they couldn't pray as well as him? Do you know that a young mother who had lived her whole life on the edge of rebellion birthed a child with the help of a man who defied every social norm in marrying her? Do you know that she was responsible for his fierce and loving heart? Do you know that even my version of the truth isn't true because there was no census? And the only reason the gospel writers drag Mary and Joseph out of their house in Nazareth for this story is to signal that this baby who will grow into God's anointed must, of course, be descended from great kings beginning with David. Can you see how these three versions of the same story can all exist in the world but cannot coexist in our hearts? Can you see how the worlds that stem from each of them would be unrecognizable to one another? Can you begin to see how we are all building worlds based upon our chosen versions of the truth, the ones that serve us best, without considering why we believe what we believe? Can you be moved to hear anew? Can you hear the truth that to reach the truly good news of who this baby will become, we must be unflinchingly open to hearing the raw and unfiltered reality he was birthed into and raised to overcome? Can you hear that the more things change, the more they stay the same? So if we believe peace, love, hope, and joy are born anew into the world this day, we will have to do more than celebrate tonight. We will have to hear, see, and know in whole new ways. Beloved, together this night, we are midwives to the mystery of Emmanuel, God with us. And we are entrusted anew with telling the age-old story in ways that tear down the walls of empire, not past tense, but in the present moment. Listen closely. See again. Know God, and know the world wants to hear an easier story than the one we have to offer. Then know that God's story, challenging as it is the only one that truly matters, and it matters that we tell it. For unto us a child is born, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace. May we celebrate and believe tonight and all the nights for the rest of our lives.